is now, as we say. So let's go to the now and let's look ahead to this week. We'll start on Thursday night, the first college football game of the week. Thursday night, it's the Marshall Thundering Herd taking on the Appalachian State Mountaineers. We've got App State, 7.5-point home favorites, actually been bet up from 6.5, 56 the total in this game. When you look at these two teams heading into this game, let's start first with Marshall. This is a team, obviously, Doc Holliday, kind of surprisingly, retires in the offseason or comes back, decides not to return. Charles Huff takes over as the head coach of this program. They get off to two, to be honest, real impressive games in the beginning of the year. Navy, 49-7 beat down of the Midshipmen, and then they beat NC Central 44-10 after that. And there were a lot of people that like Marshall, that I talked to at least last week against East Carolina. And early in the fourth quarter, things are looking awesome for them in that game, laying 9.5, 10. And then all of a sudden, Holton Ahlers and the East Carolina passing game gets things going, and they ripped the Marshall secondary. 395 passing yards for Holton Ahlers in that game. And the East Carolina Pirates outscore Marshall 21-0 in the fourth quarter, and they end up coming all the way back from 38-21 down and winning 42-38. Just a, excuse me, awful loss for Marshall, considering the lead they had. Now can they bounce back? They got to go on the road. Short week, although it won't be huge travel. West Virginia to Boone, North Carolina is not a huge travel spot by any stretch, but still, short week with travel. The one thing I like, though, about Marshall, they're in the point spread role that they were gold for the most part in the Doc Holliday era.
Yeah.
Underdog role. They have been a machine as an underdog. And I've got the numbers in front of me. We're looking at 8-2 against the spread last 10 as a road dog, 11-5 against the spread their last 16 as an underdog overall. This is the point spread you want for Marshall, taking these kind of points. Early in the week, I haven't bet this yet, but obviously we're talking about every weekday game. I'm interested in Marshall. The line's climbed up. It's above the key number of 7 now. I know App State's looked extremely impressive. They beat East Carolina, whereas Marshall lost to East Carolina. So we have common opponent for these two teams, East Carolina. And App State beat them 33-19 and outgained them by 104 yards. But, they also had that impressive game against Miami where, they nearly beat the Hurricanes on the road 25-23. Last week they played Elon 44-10, so you can't put too much stock into that. Chase Bryce is playing well at quarterback. We'll give him that. Maybe App State change of scenery has helped him out. They run the football well. The defense has been very good, and we expected the defense to be good. That was the strength of this App State team coming into the year. I just don't know if I'm ready to lay 7.5 here with them, and especially against a team that if Marshall, is still a good team, and I think they are, this is kind of a spot where I expect them to bounce back and play well. If they are, sulking a little bit after the loss to East Carolina in that bad fourth quarter, then maybe they're in trouble. I think this is a close game. Marshall is pretty good with their run defense, or their run defense is better, obviously, than their pass defense. And I think that's the place, guys, that you want to be better defensively against App State. App State's a run-first offense. I think Marshall, the better part of their defense is stopping the run, and I think that might help them here in this game. So I haven't bet it yet. And at 6.5 when it opened, I may not have gotten involved. Now that we're seeing 7.5 with Marshall, I'm kind of thinking I might be on the Thundering Herd here. Again, 11 of their last 16, they have cashed against the spread as an underdog. Grant Wells wasn't the problem last week. We talked about how Grant Wells last year, what happened to the offense down the stretch. They finally have a huge game out of him and the offense, and then the defense collapses in the fourth quarter. So if they can still produce offensively somewhat to the way they did last week, I think they're in this game. So if I'm betting at this current number, I'm betting Marshall. Connor, what's your early week thoughts here? Marshall, App State.
Yeah, the defense let him down, but Grant Wells took him down there and threw a pick right on the goal line. So he kind of coughed it up. They could have won that game. But I love East Carolina. So, we talk about roles. That's where Marshall laying that many. Everyone's high on them. That's where they falter. It didn't look like it early. But, in this one, this is where I want Marshall with the points here. You went through all those. App State's really bad lately against the spread. They're like 5-11 against winning teams. They're 1-5 at home. They haven't been very good covering the number. So yeah, this is two bad quarterbacks that I don't like to watch here in Bryce and Wells. The defense has got to be better. I think they're too close in the numbers, so I'd only be on Marshall here.
All right, leaning towards Marshall. Grant, what are your thoughts on this one?
I agree with both you guys on mostly everything on this. The one thing I would I'm going to personally look at before placing a bet on this game is I'm going to rewatch a little bit of that fourth quarter in the Marshall, and honestly just watch the sideline and the coaching and the body language and shit. Because when you get outscored 21-0, I don't like putting my money on a team that just lost 21-0 in the last quarter they played. Now, we also talk about the response, positive. Positive.
Did they just get outplayed, or did they panic? That's, I think, what you're hinting at. Yeah,
exactly. That's exactly what I'm hinting at. And so where is that staff? Where's the leadership? I like you got the 7.5. You got the hook. May go up. I look at it and I go, that's the key factor for me in this game. I'll look at that, and then the other thing, App State. Are they going to beat you in the air? Is Chase Bryce going to beat you in the air? Well, they have a couple good receivers in Hennigan, and I think Williams is another one. But I don't mind betting that. If Chase Bryce is going to beat me, I'll tip my cap and he beats me. So I'll look at that Marshall body language, check that out. I like where the line is at right now. App State may be a decent team, kind of tough to read for me right now at this point. But the line favors Marshall, as you guys said. I check that body language, though, because 21 rips, 21 rip. I mean, that ain't good for nobody.
Yeah, I mean, that is an alarming way to finish that game. There's no question about that. Yes, we appreciate it. We got a dono from Tony Cobbs, $5. Yes. We appreciate that. Thank you very much. Guys like you, guys like everybody that's tuning in, watching in the chats, sending us donations. You're the guys that make this channel. Keep it going. Keep us coming here each and every day, giving you great content. That's what it's all about. No question.
Real quick, to answer, like already people put in there, Jacksonville, so it probably would have opened the same. It just wouldn't have moved.
Yeah.
If Marshall would have hung on one, it probably just would have stayed at 5.5 instead of moving up to 7.5. But good question, Jose.
Yeah, apparently in the look ahead line, it was around 5. So there's been some adjustment. There's people saying, wow, Marshall really shit the bed, in the fourth quarter. And App State's looked impressive. Let's not forget that as well. Beat up East Carolina, nearly beat Miami on the road. Although the more we see Miami, the more we think that's just a paper tiger. So the people it's a combination of two things. Marshall, that collapse against East Carolina, and App State's look pretty good. I think that's why the early money has come in here on the home favorite. All right.